one but not two, or they might have three, and so there it's much harder to compare.
How do you make people more Catholic?
Well, I'm doing my best, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
I'm doing my very best.
If it doesn't work, what's your plan B? Because it seems like...
No, look, even beyond, if someone says, well, Michael, I agree with a lot of what you say, but I'm not a Catholic or something. Okay, fine. All I'm doing is stating the truth as I see it, as clearly and often as I can. And, that led me to certain conclusions. I hope it leads them to the same ones. But if people are if first they recognize that the truth exists and that we have faculties of reason that can be knowable, that's good. And if people recognize that there are better things and worse things, and we can do better things and worse, that's good. And if people recognize that having self-discipline is good and will lead to a more happy life, then I'm very happy about that. And down the line, maybe I haven't
convinced... Is that not what people are doing right now? Like, you don't think people are, you think people, like, it is the fact that people actually think it is better for the well-being of society to not stigmatize, like, gay marriage. They believe that. Now,
I don't think there's any such thing as gay marriage, because I think it gets back to the feminist problem, which is I think marriage either has sexual difference at the heart of it, or it just doesn't mean anything. It's just another group of people.
So then why don't you let them get married by the state if it just doesn't mean anything?
It's not up to me. Marriage either means the union of a man and a woman, the complementary sexes, for the good of the spouses, sure, and for the creation of children, for the creation of a family, or it's just like your buddy.
But you said your buddy is just what's beneficial.
With.
Let's say it's beneficial as a society to recognize those marriages. It creates less turmoil, whatever. Then is it true and is it good?
Is it beneficial to recognize a vegan lion? It's just not real. And so we can pretend. Is it beneficial to pretend that a man is a woman? I don't know. He might think it is for a short period of time, but it's not. I mean, this is one of the problems, really, with the proliferation of porn and other vices and the drugs and all that stuff, is it causes people to lose perhaps what little control of their reason they previously had. I mean, this is one of the really bad problems about all porn, Onlyfans included, but obviously the big industrial stuff too, is it appeals most basically to the prurient interest. The thing that it does is arouses people. And listen, none of you are women. You're all women. I'm not a woman. And none of you are men. I'll speak from the male perspective. I think I'm relatively reasonable. Relatively, at least. I think I'm but...
Pretty reasonable.
Pretty reasonable.
Do you think all reasonable people would necessarily come to your conclusions?
Yes. But at least to a lot of them. But I will tell you this. If I am in a state of, passionate excitement, if, this is why I don't look at these things. But if a man were to look at those things, he would lose control of his reason very, very quickly. And that's degrading, even taking the actions outside of it. To have an industry out there, the purpose of which is to make men less reasonable and to do things that can be destructive to themselves or to their families or to whatever, is not going to lead to a flourishing society.
We all have sex drives, though. That's just true. If you could eliminate sex drives from people.
No, we all have sex drives. But there's I'm not.
Are you reasonable when you're having sex with your wife in that moment?
I think I am, actually. I think I'm pretty more reasonable than others.
In the midst of it, you're okay.
I think so. Look, I mentioned Dante before. I love Dante and Divine Comedy. I'm not saying we should deny our desires or suppress them or pretend that we don't have sex drives. I got red blood, man. I think that we need to sublimate our desires to the right ends and to the good place. So you say, if I'm doing the thing that men and women do with each other within the context of marriage, am I doing it in a reasonable way? I like to think I am. Meaning, is it open to life? Is it going to produce children? Is it degrading to one partner or the other? I hope it's not. Is it reasonable with
but you're assuming the only reasonable way to I guess
procreate.
Yeah, or this urge that you have, the sexual urge, is if you do it in this context.
Yes.
But that's just your assumption, I think.
No, it's the conclusion I've arrived at through reason, because I think there are ends to things. You know, like the end of this delicious Mayflower cigar would be for me to smoke it. The end of this cup of water would be for me to drink it.
But if you use the cup to kill a bug, are you misusing the cup?
You are misusing it. It won't kill the bug as well. I mean, I'm not saying that that's immoral necessarily, but it won't kill the bug as well as it will bring you water. And so the purpose of my eyes is to see, the purpose of my mouth is to actually to smoke cigars, but maybe to eat is a secondary purpose. And the purpose of my sexuality finds its expression in procreation, which is not going to happen between a couple of fellas or 3 dudes and a billy goat. It's going to happen within the context of marriage.
Speaking of the cup, do you need a refill?
You know, I could.
You need a refill?
You're too kind, my dear. Thank you.
Okay.
I feel very patriarchal. That's very kind.
I do have a question for you. I just want to find out what the threshold is. Obviously, you morally condemn porn, and I guess I want to know from like your TradCon purview, do you also condemn